In this video, we're taking a look at some of my favorite pro street cars and trucks that I've covered in the last few years of different car show coverages and events that I've been to. There's a lot of great stuff to look at, a lot of wild and crazy stuff, a lot of vintage style cars and modern style pro street cars, a great mixture. And as a bonus, I'm throwing in some old school footage from the 80s and 90s. This is stuff that my dad captured back at Pigeon Forge and other local car shows back in the day. So there's a lot of cool stuff to see. Let's get into it. This OBS Chevrolet truck was pretty top-notch build. You can see the wheels are polished perfectly, the old Convo Pro, and then back here you got an aluminum fuel cell, dual nitrous bottles. Inside this thing is fully customized. You got the flame steering wheel, monster tack, a lot of billet aluminum pieces, and then a very slick paint job with a set of flames, lots of chrome under the hood, very low stance. You can see this thing has had a lot of custom work done, probably done many years ago if I had to guess, just based on the wheel choice and some of the accessories in here. But look at that, it's got a nitrous fogger kit on there, but it's still got the old serpentine setup with AC. It's fully loaded, every option you can think of, with the addition of the Pro Street stuff. So really neat build. Here's a cool street strip style 69 Camaro. You can see it's been tubbed in the back. It's got a roll cage in there, but not anything really crazy. And then under the hood, it's got a 605 cubic inch Dart big block Chevy. This thing has fuel injection. It is a serious setup, and just overall, it's got a real good look. Billet grille up front, real nice low stance, and you gotta love the bright red with white stripes. Now, I have a lot of respect for somebody who would do this level of build on a four-door Nova. This thing was slick, straight, and it had a lot of good pieces on it. So you can see already it's got shaved door handles, it's got a two-tone paint job. Inside of here you got racing harnesses, modern bucket seats, a hand-built console, lots and lots of good pieces. And then of course the wow factor up here is the supercharged and fuel-injected small block Chevy. This thing has got polished billet aluminum everywhere. It is a super clean, super nice build. And this guy spent just as much time on this as he would have on a two-door. I love the fact that he did all this work and all this great detail on a little four-door sedan. This is a two-door sedan body, and you can see this thing is sitting really low on the ground, and it's got a really tall engine setup. It's got a big old polish blower, two big four-barrel carburetors, and then of course that giant scoop on top of there that kind of replicates a fuel injector hat. This thing's got some serious details on it, inside and out, and of course that stance is pretty amazing. And then next to it is another Pro Street car, this time with a serious combination here. Big block, big billet blower, two fours, giant BDS scoop on there, and then we back up and take a look at this thing. It is a slick 69 Camaro. You can see it's got a modern wheel and tire combination on it, beadlocks on the back, red with black stripes. This is a great looking Pro Street car. I'm really liking these mild Pro Street builds. You'll see it doesn't have a huge rear tire on this thing, but it does have bead locks and drag radials. It's got some 17-inch front runners and just a super slick paint job with those super sport stripes. It's got a traditional small block Chevy in there with some Holley accessories and a Holley serpentine drive. Very clean build. Here's another clean one, a 55 Chevy 210 two-door sedan. This thing sits just right. It's got some 17-inch front runners on there. They're tucked way up under the fenders. This thing has a show quality paint job, and it has a supercharged LS motor in it. And look at the details under the hood. This thing is spotless. It looks like it's never even been driven. And it's a great combination of modern horsepower in a timeless Chevrolet body. Now here's a rough and rowdy 57 Chevy Pro Street car. And look at this, big block Chevy, twin turbos with a crazy looking induction setup that goes right into a carburetor. This is a wild combo, and you see it's multicolored primer, big old tires tucked under the back, roll cage. This thing is ready to go. I love these little Anglias, whether they're a drag car or a gasser, whatever they are, these things just look cool. This one appears to be a 48 model, judging by the tag on the back, and you can see it's got a great stance. Got it sitting nice and low in the front. They've trimmed the fenders out a little bit for the tire clearance. And then we look in here, rolled and pleated interior, padded dash, plenty of fans there to keep your passenger cool, and just a great looking car. The paint's definitely got some age on it, but this old car still looks good, and I saw them cruising it around throughout the weekend. This time a wild one. This thing has been cut up and set right down on the ground over what I assume is a completely custom tube chassis. You can see they do have a couple of ducts there on the dash, but a roll bar, racing seats, big tires stuffed up under the back. This is the ultimate Pigeon Forge cruising machine. Here's another Pro Street car, this time a Ford Mustang Coupe, and you can see this car's got a nice paint job on it. The two-tone scheme looks good, and it's got some American Racing 5-spoke wheels, skinnies on the front. Looks like maybe some 14 or 15 inch wide wheels on the back. Just a really cool looking Pro Street car, and you don't see a whole lot of Ford guys going this route. Just a real nice, tasteful car. Here's another Pro Street car, but this time a little more mild on the rear tire and wheel fitment, even though these little Chevy 2s don't hold much tire, so they probably had to cut a little bit on it. But up front here, small block Chevy, big B&M blower, 2 Edelbrock 4-barrel carburetors. This is a neat looking setup, and I'd say it runs pretty good too. You just gotta love the old school Mickey Thompson Sportsman tires. This is the quintessential Pro Street tire, especially when you see them mounted up on some old centerline wheels like this. This little Model T Coupe has an aggressive look because of those giant rear tires. It's got a little bit of a chop top. You can see it's got open headers. It's got those gasser style wheels on the front, and of course flat black paint with little red pinstripes. It's a pretty cool hot rod. Here's another Model T Coupe, very similar setup here. You can see this one's got a satin red paint job, the gasser 10-spoke wheels, but this one has a little more aggressive chop and a little more aggressive stance. You can see it's got 2 4s on that small block Chevy, drag radials on the back, really cool channeled body over the frame, a really neat looking hot rod. Now this next one is just plain bad. This thing is flat black, and it is a 41 Willis Coupe, which those things are cool no matter how you do it, but this is a full-on race car on the inside. You can see it's got a full cage. You can see it has racing seats and harnesses, detachable steering wheel, and I'm assuming this is a fiberglass body, which is totally okay in my book because this thing is just super cool. It's sitting perfect right on the ground, and look at these front wheels. These are American Racing wheels. These are patterned after their spindle mounts, but they're actually a bolt-on wheel. They look so cool. They didn't make many of them, and they look right at home on this car. Then we see small block Chevy, big blower, and what appears to be 2 4-barrel carburetors, but those are actually EFI throttle bodies, and then a really cool scoop on there. That stainless scoop, it's got the right shape, the right look. You can see they've put a chin spoiler on this thing, which I'm kind of on the fence about, but overall this is a really neat car. My only regret is that I didn't get to hear it run. Next up is a little Vega. Now these cars are really cool, especially the early ones like this with the little chrome bumpers, and they kind of look like a Camaro in the front. This one's got a small block Chevy, tonal ram, and 2 4s. It's probably a handful because you can see how far forward that engine has to be. These cars only handled good when you could cut the firewall out and really set that engine back. But regardless of that, they look super cool, especially with a scoop sticking out of the hood, especially with some big weld wheels on the back and skinnies on the front. This one definitely got my attention. Here's another Pro Street car, this time a Nash Metropolitan. Now most of the time you see these cars, they're either red and white or pink and white or turquoise and white, but that all black paint job really gives this thing a cool look. You can see they've flared the front fenders a little bit to provide a little more clearance, and then of course you got a scoop sticking out of the hood. I always like the shotgun style scoop like that. Billet Specialties wheels on there, a great looking stance, and a very slick paint job. And here's another Pro Street car. You can see the giant rear tires and wheels. They've opened up those wheel wells a little bit there on this 55 Chevy 2-door station wagon. And then where the hood should be, there is a big block Chevy, big YN supercharger, 2 Edelbrock carburetors, the full treatment on this Pro Street 55 Chevy. And another Chevrolet, this time a Chevy Nova SS, and this one has the Yenko stripe package. It even has the Yenko stripes on the big cowl induction hood. It's got a roll bar in there with some Yenko details on the seats, and this thing rolls on the tried and true Convo Pro wheels with some big old Hoosier tires on the back. 55 Chevy Bel Air 2-door hardtop, and it looks like the color came straight out of the 90s. This is sort of like that fuchsia color that people used to use, and this car's got some diamond stitched interior, which looks really nice. Grant steering wheel, of course, that's a staple of the 1990s. And then we got a small block Chevy with a YN supercharger, single 4-barrel carburetor, and that iconic bird catcher scoop that everybody ran in the 80s and 90s. This thing is kind of like stuck in time, but I love it. This 68 Camaro in this thing is absolutely beautiful. It's kind of a cross between a show car, a pro street car and a drag car all mixed into one. And we see this thing has a serious TRE racing engines, big block with a fogger nitrous setup, huge stainless headers, tons of beautiful details on this car that kind of take it outside of that normal drag racing realm and put it more into that show car category. And then out back we see it's got wheelie bars, sheet metal wing, dual parachutes, bead locks on those extra super deep weld wheels, Mickey Thompson slicks, and a beautiful paint job to finish it all out. Next up is a crazy creation, and I don't even know what to call this thing, but we've seen some cars like this before, and usually they have like a motorcycle engine or some kind of four-cylinder, but this one has a tried and true small block Chevy. You can see those custom stainless headers running out the back, and this thing has a big supercharger on it, 2 4s, and a big old scoop sticking up above the roof. This is a crazy combination with a little 2-seater with the engine in the back, and check out those rear tires and wheels. Those things are huge. And this is a super high-end 69 Camaro show car. This thing has a beautiful paint job, and look at the interior. This is about as high-end as you can get. And then under the hood, again, tons of great details. And look how far that LS engine is set back under the cowl. This thing is serious. It's got a great stance, cool paint job. I love the hockey stick stripe with a little swoop on the end there. Really great looking car that's absolutely packed with custom details. This time a 67 Mustang Coupe. It's got a 302 Ford motor underneath that snorkel scoop, big ProStar wheels, Mickey Thompson radials on the back, great stance, great paint job, really neat car. Now here's one of the wildest and cleanest pro street cars that I saw in Pigeon Forge this year. This little Chevette was absolutely slick. You can see it's got giant tires up under the back of it with some beadlock wheels, cool little front runners up here, and then of course underneath that hood it's got a rowdy small block Chevy. It has a billet blower shop blower on it, injector hat sticking up. I mean, this thing has got a killer setup. This car has a great paint job and a great stance. Really cool car in my opinion. So we're looking at a 68 Chevelle, and this appears to be a super sport car. But what got my attention is the 80s style Pro Street stance. This is more like early 80s when Pro Street was first becoming a thing, mainly because you see this car has Krager SS wheels on it, and that was sort of a 70s and early 80s thing. So this is just a car that sticks out to me because I used to see this stuff all the time cruising the street in Pigeon Forge, and it got my attention this time around. This is a 58 Chevrolet 2-door post, which is a really neat combination, but when you get around to the front of this car, it's just a little much. But I had to show it to you guys because this thing is just too crazy to walk past and not talk about this triple stacked blower combination. It's a big block Chevy. It has 3 polished 671 blowers that are all tied together with custom pulley setups, 2 big carburetors, and a big giant scoop on top of that. But the really crazy thing was sitting next to it, a 63 Corvette split window coupe. This thing's got a Pro Mod body. It's got sheet metal wing, big wheelie bars, and a parachute. It's wild, it's crazy. Big tires on the back, of course. But when you get up to the front, again, we're talking about crazy wow factor, and this is just way too over the top for me, but it had a crowd around it all weekend long. Another crazy big block Chevy, and this time with 5 polished blowers on it, 2 with 2 stacked on top of that, with another one stacked on top of that, 2 big carburetors, and a big scoop on top of that. This thing was like 7 feet tall, way too much for me, but it was definitely a conversation piece for everybody who walked through the Chattanooga World of Wheels. Now, this thing's got full fenders. Most of the time you see these cars and they kind of look like a T-bucket, but this one's got full fenders on it. You can see it's got weld drag light wheels, and then it has a small block Ford with the Hilborn style scoop. A pretty neat looking car. Obviously it's a little outdated here and there, but looks like a lot of fun with those huge tires on the back. Now I really like the stance on this 66 Nova. This thing is set up for the street or the strip. You can see it's got a roll cage in there. It has some fiberglass body components, 17-inch front runners, big beadlock wheels on the back with slicks. You can see it's got Kirky aluminum seats in there, big wheel tubs on the back, so there's plenty of room for a bigger tire if you wanted it. But this thing has got a great look so far. Again, I don't know what it has for horsepower, but this thing has a really cool look. I'm really curious to see what this thing runs when it's finished. Now here's another one of these modern day street strip cars. This time it's a 55 Chevy 210 two-door sedan, and you can see this thing has a slick black paint job. The white roof looks cool, and again this thing has 17-inch front runners, beadlocks on the back. Obviously the guys at Butler Motorsports have a specific look in mind when they're building a car like this. So this thing has that patented look, and then you go under the hood, and of course this thing has a killer supercharged LS combination, all the best of everything underneath this car. And then we look inside and it has a blue interior. So pretty much original as far as the stitching and the patterns, but some modern upgrades on the dash, the steering wheel. You see that armrest and cup holder set up. This thing's ready for the road, even though it looks like it's ready for the drag strip. Is Rod and Tina Sabury's 66 Corvette. Now this thing was an original 427 car, and it currently has a 427 in it, but it's a small block, and it's a rowdy small block. So this thing has got a complete custom paint job front to back. Even the engine bay has custom paint in it. And you'll notice the polished RC component wheels. This thing's got four-wheel disc brakes. It's got a 4-link suspension in the back with a narrowed 9-inch Ford, 456 gears. This thing is an incredible race car, and it's one of several Corvettes that Rod owns. This 36 Dodge, or maybe it's a Plymouth, but this thing, it's the Hulk. This car has been around forever. My dad's got some pictures of it before it was even tubbed or before it had the blower, and this thing has just been on the road for at least 30 years, maybe even closer to 40 years. It's got airbrush work on it. This is your typical pro street car from the 70s or 80s or 90s. This is it right here, and this is one of the things I remember the most about Pigeon Forge. Cars just like this were cruising up and down the strip all day and all night. In the ARP booth, there was a collection of cars that were all built by the same guy, Scott Sullivan, including this incredible Oldsmobile bubble top. This thing's got fuel injection on it. It's got a killer stance, cool color combination on this thing, just a really good looking car. And then behind it is an iconic 55 Chevrolet that Scott built several years ago. This thing's had several different tire and wheel combinations on it, and he just recently switched it to these Krager Super Trick wheels. It's got that 70s and 80s look nailed, and of course the stance on this car, it would look good with just about any wheel and tire combination, but the Super Tricks look really cool on there. Another car out of the Scott Sullivan camp is this bubble top, and this thing's got a wild color on it. Again, stance is absolutely perfect. It's also got a 409 under the hood, which makes it even cooler. And then check out these wheels. These are Bogart wheels that are made to replicate the original motor wheel flies, like what he used on the Cheese Whiz car originally. Now this is a pretty wild one. You'd have seen a lot of creations like this in the late 80s and early 90s in Pigeon Forge. This is a 50s Studebaker bullet nose coupe. And it's got a really wild top design. It's got that wraparound back glass, long deck lid, and of course big wide tires under the back with some Convo Pro wheels. You can see they've updated the front wheels to some torque thrust, but look inside of here. This is totally 80s and 90s all the way. And then of course in the front, it's got a big blower, 2 4s, a shotgun scoop on it, and some wild looking flame scallops, whatever you want to call those, in purple, of course. You got the moon eyes on the butterflies. I mean, this is pretty much your typical 90s Pro Street custom, and this thing still gets attention to this day. Now here's a cool cross between a mini truck and a Pro Street truck. So this is an S10 Blazer, and you'll notice it's got a small block with a big blower, 2 Demon 4-barrel carburetors, street scoop. It's got everything you want for Pro Street. It's got Billet Specialties wheels, tubbed in the back, but it's also got some mini truck details, like where they've shaved the body line, they've molded in the tail lights, they've got little tail lights on the bottom. It's kind of a good mixture. And then over here you got another weird and crazy mini truck. This is an S10, it's tubbed in the back, got some big Hoosier tires. Check out those stripes. It's got a slick paint job, and then look at this roof. This is totally something you'd see in Pigeon Forge in the 80s and 90s. This weird kind of stuff like this just seemed to really resonate with the Pigeon Forge crowd. And this one's still got the classic look. It's still out there, still shiny, still looking pretty good. I love these fat fender Chevrolet trucks, especially when they got a big old tire under the back of them. And this one's a great example. Big fat tires, Pro Star wheels. This is just your typical Pro Street build. 70 Chevelle Pro Street car with a giant cowl hood and a shotgun scoop. Just a neat combination of cars right here on the strip. Now this one's kind of goofy. The proportions are a little weird on it, but this is the type of stuff that I remember from my childhood. Lots of cut up hot rods and street rods. This thing's got a long nose. You can see it's got side pipes, giant tires on the back, slotted mags, weird flames. It's just, you know, it's not what I would consider a tasteful hot rod these days, but it definitely starts bringing back some of those memories from the 80s and 90s. Speaking of the 80s and 90s, look at the airbrush work on this thing. It's got a buffalo theme. Not very often you see a buffalo theme on a car, but you can see the stampeding buffalo with the dust trail that goes all the way down the side of the truck. And as we go back, you can actually see that this thing's got a lot of custom body work. This is a Studebaker Pro Street truck. It's got a chop top. It's a really wild pickup truck, and it's done up in total 1990s style. You can see this thing has got an awesome stance. It's got 17-inch front runners. It's got bead locks with some big drag radials on the back, and this thing is absolutely slick. Look at the paint on this car. The black with the white roof is killer. The wheel combination is killer, and I'm sure this thing has plenty of power to back up the aggressive look. Now, I love Corvette hot rods, and this one's definitely a hot rod. It's got crazy flames, a big cowl hood, some centerline wheels with little bitty front runners and some wide ones on the back. And apparently this thing actually started life as a 78 model 25th anniversary car. Here we go, some more big tires and weld wheels, this time on a C10 step-side truck. And I love these old trucks right here. These trucks have a great body style and they work out really well for pro street builds. This is a good example of a crazy show car gasser, 57 Chevrolet, giant tires on the back, and check out that big block Chevy with what's gotta be the biggest tunnel ram I've ever seen. 2.4s, big scoop with moon eyes cover on it. This is a wild one. And this one is even wilder. This is a 69 Camaro. You can see some custom body work on the bottom side there. Inside, it's got a full roll cage, leather interior, and then of course up here, look at all of this. This thing's got a Roots supercharger, it's got nitrous, it's got twin turbos, it's got that giant injection style hat on top with 2.4 barrels. This is just insanity, and it's overkill. It's just too much for any type of practical driving, but it's exactly what you expect to see in a high-end pro street car, something that just gets everybody talking. Here's another early 90s style pro street car. Now this is a 68 Chevelle. You can see the big tires, the Convo Pro wheels, the crazy paint and graphics, and then of course under the hood, supercharger, 2.4s, shotgun scoop. I mean, this is exactly what you would see in Pigeon Forge 20, 30, even close to 40 years ago. You'd see cars like this just everywhere you looked. Crazy wild paint jobs, low down stance, and giant rear tires. That's what it's all about. Now, before the pro street craze started, the street machines of the 70s and early 80s had pretty big tires, but they didn't put them up under the car. They let them hang out a little bit, just like this 67 Camaro does. It's got Krager SS wheels on it, and they're poking out just a little bit on the back, just the right amount of 70s flavor. Here's a very tasteful pro street car. This is a 66 Chevy 2 Nova, and it's got some big tires up under the back. It's got a roll cage in it, but you don't see any wild and crazy paint job. It's just got a nice slick blue paint job on it. Pretty good stance, cowl hood, you know, a lot of the typical stuff you'd see on pro street without some of the gaudy details you might have seen in the 90s. Here's a wild one. This 69 Camaro has a crazy combination. You can see the engine is just completely blacked out. Big block Chevy, big blower, big carburetors, big scoop, but it's all black. And the bright red paint job, the tinted windows, I mean, this thing's got a sinister look, and it sounded pretty good too. Now, I love pro street stuff, and this 41 Willis is just a great example because this car sits so nice. It's right down on the ground. It doesn't have a lot of crazy details as far as like stuff sticking out of the hood. It's just a very tastefully done car. Bright red paint, Halabrand wheels on it, little ones on the front, big old wide ones on the back. That's just how they're supposed to be with a Pro Street Willis. As we made our way into the swap meet, I couldn't help but notice this 62 Corvette, and this thing is a project for sure. It's stripped down to the bare fiberglass. You can see the bonding seams. I mean, this would be a big project, but it's all there. And it's a pro street car. You can see it's got a roll cage in the back, so maybe it has some drag racing history, but this thing looks really cool. It's sitting down nice and low. It's got a set of Torque Thrust D wheels on it and big Mickey Thompson stuffed up under the back. This thing would be so cool with a slick paint job and nice interior, but if I'm being honest, I'd probably drive it just like this. Here's another Corvette. This is like a 53 to 55 car. You can see that this might be an aftermarket body. I can see some things that are a little different than original, like the windshield's a little different. I don't know exactly the full history on this thing, but it's got a really cool Pro Street look. It's painted orange. It's got weld wheels on it. It's got giant rear tires, and it's got a really stout looking big block in there. And then sitting right next to it is a car with matching colors, so I'm assuming they're related. But this thing is really neat because it's got some extremely rare front wheels on it. This altered Roadster, it has a big block too, but what I was really looking at is the Kreitz front wheels on this car. These are spindle mount wheels, and they were a competitor to American Racing, who was making a 12-spoke spindle mount wheel out of magnesium. Well, these were made out of aluminum, and they were just a little bit different design. They looked a little more like a wagon wheel, but they're extremely rare. You hardly ever run across a set of these, and the ones on this car are in excellent condition. It was sitting up on top of a very nicely done trailer as well. You can see it's got motorcycle fenders, a lot of custom details. Another cool Pro Street car is this 69 Camaro, and it's badged as a Z28, and you won't see any crazy stripes other than the Z28 stripes. You won't see any crazy body modifications. This is just a slick 69 Camaro with giant rear tires on the back. Got some billet specialty street light wheels, cool stance. This is a good looking car. I'd say my favorite Pro Street car at the Spring Turkey Run was this 64 Corvette convertible. This thing's got bead locks on the back, it's got a cool stance, and then when you get around to the front of it, this is what Pro Street is all about. Big blower, big carburetors, and a giant scoop. This combination turns heads wherever it goes. The bright red paint was very slick too. I mean, this car was built very nicely, but the wow factor was undeniable. There were plenty of Pro Street cars on the property, lots of first generation Camaros, some Novas, Tri-5 Chevys. Of course, it's Chevy heavy. A lot of Chevys were turned into Pro Street cars, but you'll see this lineup of cars. There's just so many cool details here. Cool paint jobs, good stance. These guys really get it. Here's an old Survivor, this 61 Corvette. You can see the paint starting to come apart on it. The interior is not perfect. None of the car is perfect, but they hit the road with this car and have fun with it, and that's what really matters. It doesn't have huge tires on it, but in terms of a first generation Corvette, this is pretty big, so they obviously had to bring the frame rails in, modify the body to fit that type of tire and wheel. This thing's got a great look to it, and it was for sale just like many of the other cars in attendance. In the spectator parking lot, there was a wild 69 Camaro, probably the wildest of the Pro Street cars that I saw. This thing's got crazy paint on it, very slick paint job. You can see somebody has spent a lot of time, a lot of masking, a lot of airbrush work. Very, very well done. This thing's got a full cage in it. It's basically a race car underneath. And I don't see a blower on this car. I can't really tell what's going on under the hood, but my guess is a big cubic inch big block with some nitrous on there. Definitely one of the wildest combinations I saw. Here's another Pro Street car, this time a mid-70s Corvette, and this thing has some beautiful candy apple paint on it, big tires on the back, wheelie bars, the whole 9 yards, and a blower with 2.4s sticking out of the hood. This is what the Daytona Turkey Run is all about. I love cars like this. Pigeon Forge is kind of known for its Pro Street builds. You'll see a bunch of them here, more so than when you go to like a Good Guys show or NSRA show. And it's still in style. People still love them. You gotta love big tires and big motors. And this Dodge Charger is a great example. Under the hood, look at this thing. Blown Hemi with blacked out pieces. This is such a cool build. It's got a super bright color, black wheels with giant rear tires tucked up under the back of it. It's got a roll bar in there, custom bucket seats, a lot of custom details on the interior, that console and dash panel, that's all custom built. And you'll see that anything that's not that bright fluorescent color is done in satin black. So this thing's got a really wild look. It's got a pretty cool stance, and it got a lot of attention. Here's another Pro Street car. This is a 41 Willys Coupe, and this is the ultimate setup for a Pro Street build. These cars just look so cool, either as a gasser or a Pro Street car, but this one, you can look under the hood. It's got a Ramjet 502 big block. It's got a killer stance. It's got American Racing polished wheels on it, and that flame job is really cool too, where the under layer of paint has a cool gradient fade job. It's got some pretty tasteful details. Obviously, it's a show car, so it has some impractical details, but it's a pretty cool piece. All right, here's another Pro Street build, this time a 68 to 72 Nova. You can see he's got some big tires on the back of it. It's got bead locks, killer looking stance, and the paint on this car was incredible. All black. You can see they've blacked out all the trim, they've blacked out the bumpers. This thing is slick and very nicely done. We see it's got bucket seats and a B&M shifter in there. And then under the hood, it's got a big block Chevy, aluminum heads. It's got some pretty serious looking components here, but very simple. Not a whole lot of flashy stuff, just some thin aluminum valve covers, aluminum radiator. This thing looks like it's built to be used and abused. Here's another heavily customized build. This is a 64 to 66 Chevrolet truck. And you can see this thing has got a slammed stance. The back tires and wheels are tucked way up under there. Big wheel tubs, side exit exhaust. And the chopped top on this thing is very tastefully done. You can see it's wedge chopped to be very aggressive, and they've done serious work up here on the front. Usually these hoods are giant, and they've actually sliced this hood to be much more slim, leaving the front fenders to have this sculpted shape. Really crazy. And then we got a big block Chevy with stacked fuel injection poking right out of the hood. Crazy looking combination, and you'll see on the driver's side here that it's got suicide doors. This thing has got a ton of work done to it and is finished out very nicely. Even though Pigeon Forge is known for its pro street builds, there's a lot of high-end, high-horsepower street cars that show up too, and this is a great example. This Pontiac Firebird has a twin turbocharged LS motor in it. You can see it's got 17-inch front runners on it, bead locks on the back, cool paint job, tinted windows. This thing has got a killer bad street car look, and I'm sure it runs good too. Now this next one is less of a street car. This looks like a full-on race car. 68 to 72 Nova. You can see they've got a black painted top, tinted windows, bright red paint, and up front is a big block Chevy with an absolutely giant single turbocharger and an absolutely killer stance. You see the bead locks in the back with drag radials, 17-inch front runners, bullhorn exhaust, the air dam in the front, sheet metal wing in the back with a parachute. This thing is just bad to the bone. All right, I like pro street cars and I like gassers, but I don't typically like pro street gassers. When you have a car that's got a straight axle in the front and it's jacked up in the front, I don't usually love a narrowed rear end with the tires tucked way up under it, but this is an exception. This is an early Falcon two-door station wagon, which all the Falcon purists are going to cry about that because it's a very rare car, a two-door station wagon, and somebody has cut the quarter panels out. They've put a straight axle under the front. It has a roll bar in it, and it has a pretty serious big block Chevy with a tunnel ram, 2.4s, big headers, all the normal gasser stuff, including a big old aluminum tank in the front. They've had to cut out the front bumper to fit that in. But this thing's got a pretty cool look, I'll admit. For a pro street gasser, this thing got my attention. Hot Rod Magazine coined the term dare to be different, and this is it right here. This is different. This is a Volvo station wagon that somebody has completely cut up. They put giant rear tires on the back to make a very wild and crazy pro street build. Now you don't see many T-buckets anymore, but I couldn't help but stop and look at this one, mainly because it has a set of magnesium American spindle mount wheels on it, but the rest of this stuff is period correct too. You can tell the paint's been on this thing a while. It's got a single 4-tunnel ram on that small block. The Mickey Thompson valve covers look great. The over-the-frame headers are looking good. They've turned a little bit, but that's what you want. That means you've driven it. Big old tires on the back, chrome front suspension, really neat setup, and of course, just like most of the things in Pigeon Forge, it was for sale. Now here's an unusual pro street car. This is a Chrysler, I guess this is a K car. I don't really know much about the 80s Chryslers, but look at that roll cage in there. Looks pretty tight inside of this car, but it's got factory interior, looks like a factory type paint job. It's got weld wheels, big old tires on the back, and of course, under the hood is a small block Chevy engine. Here we go, wheelie bars, parachute, wing, big tires, weld drag-light wheels. This is the combination for a Pigeon Forge Pro Street build. And look at this, this is actually right-hand drive. This is a little mail Jeep, I guess, or I don't know the details of it, but it's right-hand drive and it's a Jeep. And let's see under the hood, let's see what we got. Is it a Mopar? Is it a Ford? Nope. It's a small block Chevy with a nitrous kit on it. I bet this thing is scary to drive. Now you don't see a lot of Mopars that have been given the Pro Street treatment, and this one has a pretty cool look to it. Bright red paint, torque thrust wheels on it, and then a killer blower setup. You can see that this thing's got a blower shop blower, 2 Edelbrock 4 barrels, and super tall velocity stacks. And looking in here, you can't see a whole lot, but that's actually an early Hemi, so like a 392 based Hemi in there. This thing has probably been mini tubbed to hold this size tire and wheel, but it's not fully crazy tubbed out like some of the other Pro Street builds you see. But it's got a very nice paint job on it, very nicely done car. Here's another very tasteful Pro Street build. This is a 55 Chevy. It's got a cowl induction hood and a slick orange and cream paint job that really look good out in the sun. Built especially street light wheels, good stance, nothing real crazy, no real radical changes. You'll see it does have a roll bar in there, but this thing is not one of those radical Pro Streets. It's very tastefully done. It's got a real good look to it. Here's another car that brings back some childhood memories. Way back when we'd go to Pigeon Forge and Pro Street was everywhere. This car has some serious street rod type modifications, and it's slick, and it has stood the test of time. This car's been together for a long time, but look at this combination. Shaved door handles, flat hood, no spoiler on the back, just a monochromatic paint job, no chrome on it. It's just all blue, and you check out those directional 2-spoke wheels. This was all the rage back in the 1990s, and this thing is crazy looking on the inside. You can see those 2 seats in there, but everything else is painted blue. You see it's got a Dakota digital gauge cluster in there. I mean, this was a revolutionary car at the time, and it's still cool to look at today. But this one got my attention because it has some drag racing influence. You can see it's got a moon tank up front, a tilt front end, a 426 based Hemi with stack injection that is absolutely a work of art. It's got suicide doors. This thing's got all the tricks. It's got racing harnesses, racing shifter, racing gauges. I mean, this is an all-out show car, but it's got some neat flavor to it. Here's another time capsule from the 80s and 90s. This is Mike Cotton's 1980 Dodge Murata. And this thing has all sorts of colors. It has all sorts of tire on the back and all sorts of big motor under the hood. Big supercharger with some big old stacks on top of the carburetors. And you can see this was featured on the Faster with Newbern and Cotton show. This thing is a wild combination, and it gets driven pretty often. Crazy Pro Street Impala. I mean, this thing has one of the tallest setups you'll ever see, and then next to it is a 55 Chevy truck with a really crazy setup. But once again, we've got a root supercharger, we got carburetors, appears to have a Pro Charger, and all sorts of pipes and gizmos and probably nitrous, just everything. They threw the kitchen sink at it. And then this is a funny car that you can drive on the street. A Chevy Nova funny car. We'll see a little bit more of that here in just a minute. And then over here we've got a 55 Chevy, and this thing is sitting on the ground. You can see they had to put exhaust up in the quarter panels, and this thing has a killer LS motor, twin turbos, lots of horsepower, definitely a modern day Pro Street build. And then behind it is a 69 Camaro that takes a little bit more of a radical approach. This thing has custom rocker panels down on the bottom, and then look at this. Twin turbos. It's got a huge supercharger, big carburetors, big scoop. Probably also has nitrous on it. I mean, this thing has everything you want and maybe some stuff you didn't want. Here's another look at that Nova funny car, this time with the body up, a little bit of sun on that bright red paint. You can see it's basically a funny car chassis. You sit in the middle, and then it's got a killer big block, 2 superchargers, 2 injector hats, a wild belt system, zoomy headers. I mean, this thing is outrageous, and I cannot imagine driving it on the street. So as soon as we walk in, we see this 41 Willys coupe, and this thing is a pretty radical Pro Street build. It's got huge tires up under the back. It's got a killer paint job, cool interior, and under the hood is a Ray Barton Hemi. I don't know the cubic inches on this thing, but it's got to be big. And it looks healthy. I bet this thing beats the ground. Then we've got another 41 Willys coupe. This is another Pro Street build, fiberglass body, really nice, lots of good parts sitting here. This will make another really good project whenever he gets around to it. Now here's a pretty neat gasser. This is a 35 Chevrolet coupe. You can see it's got the brightest red paint you can imagine. Krager SS wheels, little skinnies on the front, big ones on the back with big fat tires. I don't know a lot about the engine combination, but it sounded pretty healthy when it came in. Speaking of healthy, take a look at this 34 Ford 3-window coupe. This thing's got huge Mickey Thompson tires on the back, And then look at that big block, big wind blower, two big 4-barrel carburetors. And if we take a closer look at this engine combination, it's not just for show. It's all aluminum. It's an aluminum headed, aluminum block, big block. This is a serious combination. It sounded good, it looked cool, and you gotta love those wheelie bars sticking way out the back. This is just a radical Pro Street build that takes me back to the 90s. It's a 64 Corvette coupe. You can see it's got an L88 style hood scoop. It's got a small block in there with air conditioning. A lot of people got air conditioning on this hot summer day, but check out the back side of this car. This car's got some big tires, big rally wheels that have been widened in the back. It's got 6 tail lights. But let's take a look underneath this thing because it has a very odd setup. This is actually a narrowed, independent rear suspension. So a lot of times if you see a tubbed Corvette, it's going to have a 9-inch Ford or 12-bolt or Dana 60, and this thing's actually got a cut down and narrowed IRS system from a 64 Corvette. It's a very unique setup. This is a cool looking Pro Street car. You can see right here, big block Chevy, blower, 2 4s, Hilburn style scoop, and everything is blacked out. Satin black everything. Satin black on the trim, the wheels, the bumpers. This is a sinister looking car. 67 Novas are already extremely cool and a great body style, but this one is even better with that bad to the bone stance, big motor, roll cage. I mean, it has all the right elements for a killer Pro Street car. Now this one is just a plain old hot rod right here. This is a 33 or maybe a 34 Ford, 3-window coupe, and you can see it's got a cool chop top, Lexan windows with the sliders, and then it has a very nicely fabricated hood and hood sides with those louvers. You can see that Hilburn scoop poking out of the hood, the cool grill panel with those punched holes. This thing's got the greatest old school look. It's got a perfect stance. It's got great big slicks on the back with slotted mags. You can see this thing's pretty serious too. And he was out there making some passes getting this thing dialed in. But you don't see a whole lot of Pro Street cars at the Corvette Expo, and there's probably a good reason for that. Most people don't like to completely cut up a Corvette, but this one obviously has been whittled on a little bit. This is an 80 to 82 model Corvette. You can see giant rear tires up under the back. Big block Chevrolet, 496 is what it says on the valve cover. Big blower, 2 big carburetors, shotgun style scoop. This thing's got a cool attitude, and I'm really liking the Krager SS wheels on there. And look at this engine setup. Small block Chevy with a B&M mega blower, 2 4-barrel carburetors, and our favorite part of this was the light blue paint, Hot Wheels logos on the back. It's a really cool Pro Street style car. This time we got a 66 and a 67 Chevy Nova. These cars always look good with a big tire up under the back. This one's got a deep brown metallic paint job, custom leather interior, and then under the hood we've got an LS motor. You can see it's got some custom sheet metal work there to cover up the engine. And then next is a bright orange 67 Nova. This one's got a big block Chevy with aluminum heads. It has a little more of a race-ready setup. You can see it's got a roll bar in there, big tires, side exit exhaust. This is a real cool combination. This time with a candy apple red paint job, and we got a killer small block setup. This thing has a polished BDS blower on it, and you can see those hard plumbed lines. This thing also has nitrous oxide on it. It's got 2 big brawler carburetors on it, velocity stacks with filters. I mean, it's got a really tall looking setup. And you'll see on this thing, it doesn't have a huge tire under the back, but it does have bead locks. It's got a sheet metal wing, the air dam on the front of it. I mean, this thing looks like it's a Pro Street car, but I would imagine it's pretty quick on the drag strip. Without a doubt, Pigeon Forge is heavy on Chevrolet muscle cars, but check out this 68 Plymouth Barracuda. First thing I noticed was the parachute sticking out of the back, giant tires with bead locks, and then check out the interior. We've got a roll cage in there, some modern racing bucket seats, but this is the real wow factor of this car. This thing has a Ray Barton 426 based Hemi engine. It is obviously a killer setup. Now, I'm not a huge fan of the real flames, the real fire, or whatever you want to call it, on the sides of this thing, but it is a slick car. No doubt about it. Somebody poured a lot of time and effort into making this thing straight, making it slick, and giving it the real wow factor with that super stock hood scoop, Hemi engine under there, and a great stance to go with it. Speaking of stance, look at this 32 Ford 3-window coupe. This thing has the perfect hot rod stance, and that's partially because of these giant ProTrack bias-ply tires on the back. They're wrapped around some ET wheels, gives this 32 Ford the perfect look. I always have my eyes peeled for Henry J's, and this one obviously jumped out and got my attention. The bright paint job, the blower with the shotgun scoop. I mean, this thing is too cool. You can see on the inside a bright green roll cage, 59 Impala dash, which is unusual in one of these cars. But check out the stance. This thing is down in the weeds in the front. It's got a big old tire tucked under the back of it. This is a cool Henry J that brings back some great Rod Run memories. It's a 68 Chevy van. This thing has some custom bodywork on it, centerline wheels, big old tires under the back. And when we get to the inside, check this out. Big block Chevy, tunnel ram, 2 4-barrel carburetors, big old air cleaner, a roll cage tying into the back part of the frame rails. This thing is just too cool. Wheelie bars, parachute, zoomy headers. The only thing I wish is that I could have seen this thing cruising down the strip. This is a 1960 Studebaker Lark, and this thing is a killer pro street car. It's sitting right on the ground with some huge Mickey Thompson tires under the back. You've got tweed interior with purple accents, the teal paint on the outside with purple striping. I mean, this thing is like a 1990s time capsule, and the stance is right on the money. Now, I often wonder where all the T-buckets went because there were thousands of these things on the street, and here is a perfect example of a 70s style T-bucket. Look at the interior in this thing. Gold with diamond stitching and buttons. This thing is just exactly what you'd see back in the day at car shows. It's got a chrome-plated rear end. It has a chrome-plated front end. Small block Chevy with a single 4 tunnel ram with this wild-looking carburetor setup. As we back up, we can see it's got coil springs front and back, chrome headers, a flame job, Krager SS wheels, some big old white letter tires on the back. And this thing was for sale, like many of the cars on the strip, $12,000 or best offer. Outside of the swap meet, there was a row of really cool street strip cars. This 66 or 7 Nova has a serious combination, big tires under the back, little S10. It's got a neat looking combination too. B-locks, flames, it's got a real good stance. And then a 67 Corvette, tubbed in the back. I mean, this thing was killer. Side exit exhaust, cowl induction hood, spindle mount wheels on the front. This is a serious race car, but he's got some street tires on the back of it. And check this thing out. This thing's got magnesium spindle mount wheels on the front. Look at all the old chrome on the front axle and suspension. Moon tank up there. Then we got a small block Chevy with a 471 blower. And check out the old Krager blower drive with triple V-belts. This doesn't have a cog style belt. This is truly old school stuff. This thing's got some cool paint on it. It's in great shape. You can see those pie crust slicks, magnesium wheels. I mean, it's got all the right stuff. The stance is crazy. The windshield and the top is crazy. Everything about this car is extreme. And take a look on the inside. It's got some old gauges. And you can see that steering situation is straight up and down almost. And then some old upholstery too. I mean, this thing is very nicely preserved, and it was for sale in the swap meet. On the for sale sign, it says the car was built in 1962. And it also says that Carl Casper, very famous Louisville-based hot rodder, helped build the car. It was stored for 50 years and recently brought back out and freshened up. So this is a 62 Rambler, and it is sitting right down on the ground. And check out this power plant. Big block Chevy, polished blower, 2 carburetors. This thing sounds good, it looks good, it's got a slick paint job, killer stance, wheelie bars out the back. I don't think you could ask for much more in a contemporary pro street build. The 1957 Chevy Bel Air convertible. This thing is pro street. It's got a big block blower, 2 4s, the whole 9 yards, and it gets attention wherever it goes. And sometimes it drives people crazy because they think that he's cut up a really valuable or rare car, when actually this is a fiberglass body. This was used as a sign for a 50s restaurant back in the 80s and 90s. And my dad ended up knowing a guy who bought out several of those cars from this restaurant chain, and they built a few cars out of those fiberglass bodies. They put it on a Buick Regal frame, they back halved it, put the giant Mickey Thompson tires under the back, and this car's been on the road for over 20 years. He has drove this thing thousands and thousands of miles, and to see people go crazy over it, whether they love it or whether they think he's cut up a $100,000 car. Another cool car that was built in my dad's shop is this 1940 Ford Coupe. Now this car is another pro street car, big block Chevrolet, blower, 2.4s, and it's got some body modifications that are pretty cool. It's got suicide doors, hidden hinges, shaved drip rails. With any of Denny's cars, you'll see as we go through the collection, stance is a big part of the formula on his builds. So, this is another good example of that. And another example of a car built at my dad's shop. So we've got some cool pictures and even video of this thing. I'm going to show it to you here, of them driving this car with no body on it. They just drove the frame around the block. I mean, this is just one of the many adventures that Denny and my dad have been on. That's kind of their thing. When they get something where it'll run and drive, they've got to go around the block in it. Even if they're holding the gas tank and the battery, and they'll do whatever it takes to go around the block. You remember the Cheese Whiz car that Scott Sullivan built, got on the cover of magazines. I mean, it got all sorts of publicity. Now, this car is very similar to that. It sits pretty close to the same. It's got kind of a cool orange color, but it's not that car, obviously. But he's put a bunch of miles on this one too. It doesn't get driven as much as it used to, but still a very functional piece of his collection, and still a very cool piece of his collection. I love the stance, I love the color, everything about this car is cool. All right, now let's get into the bonus footage. This is old 80s and 90s VHS material, and we're gonna kick it off with a couple of local cars from right here in Dayton, Tennessee. The first one here is this square body, step side pickup truck. You can see it's got those cool looking stripes on there, sitting right down on the ground, big weld wheels on the back. This truck belonged to Big Mike Hall, and he was one of my dad's good friends for a long time. And then this next one is Chris Long's Chevy Nova, and this car was a long-term project. He drove it around in brown primer for a little while, and then eventually my dad painted this thing black with these cool looking multicolored stripes. We'll see it's got big weld wheels on the back, skinnies up front. This thing eventually ended up with all sorts of cool pro street stuff, including wheelie bars, a parachute. It had all the cool tricks from back in the day. As we get into the Pigeon Forge footage, we got a 56 Chevy, blower, 2.4s, and a scoop. Doesn't have big tires, but still I would consider this kind of a mild pro street car. Then we've got a 68 Camaro. This one doesn't have a blower, but it does have the big wide tires and wheels on the back. Obviously it's been tubbed and back halved, and they put a big old set of weld wheels up under the back of it. Very cool looking car. Next up is a serious combination. We've got a blown and injected big block Chevy, and this is in a 69 Chevelle, and this car has changed a lot through the years, but you can see it was an over-the-top showpiece. It had a tilt front end with a hood that opened up so you could see that engine. It was a really cool looking combination, real wild looking stripes. Obviously it sat really low. It had all the tricks for a cool Pro Street build. We didn't get a good clear picture of this one, but check out the engine placement in this Opel GT. Almost the entire big block Chevy is outside of the engine bay. Amazing little bitty car with big tires on the back. And then this next one is a 70 model Chevelle, and you can see it's got stripes on it. My dad always focused on the stripes because he did a lot of custom paint jobs, and he would get ideas from these different cars that he would see. You can see this one's big block Chevy powered, B&M mega blower up top, 2 4-barrels and a big scoop. And then the next one we're looking at is a Mustang Coupe, and we'll see that this one is more than likely a tube chassis car just based on the stance, the engine placement. This was probably a drag car that they switched a few things around and made it somewhat street friendly. Next up is a 55 Chevy, and we see it's got a blower and 2 big Holley carburetors up there. This one has a billet grille, painted bumpers, very trendy stuff from back in the late 80s and 90s. And then the most radical modification on this car is the chop top. Next up we see a highly detailed engine bay, and this is a big block Chevy. No blower or anything extravagant on this thing, but you can see lots of detail, lots of custom paint work, and turquoise. That was extremely popular in the late 80s and early 90s, and this is all wrapped up in a very cool, very slick 67 Corvette convertible. Here's another turquoise car, this time a 55 Chevy, and you can see this one has all of its trim intact, but it's all been painted to match the body color. Bumpers, trim, door handles, everything is turquoise on this car. And then under the hood we can see it has an old GMC style 671 blower and then a big tall Formula scoop on top. Here's another 55 Chevy, and we got a nice zoom in on that Pro Street lettering. This one's got a blower on it and tons of polished aluminum and chrome plating. This was a real high-end build. This next shot starts zoomed in on this aluminum headed big block Chevy with a blower, and as we back up a little bit you can see third generation Camaro, and this was essentially a brand new car at this time. And we can see it has a roll cage in it. It has a slick paint job with really good looking stripes, Pro Star wheels. I mean, this was a top of the line Pro Street car for the time. Next is a 67 Camaro, and we see custom paint. This one's got a roll cage too, just your typical Pro Street car for the time. And then the next one we're looking at, another big block, another blower, and this kind of looks like Jody Davis's Brute 55 Chevy, but I'm not seeing that lettering on the quarter panel, but I am seeing that cool stance, the blower setup, the brush finish wheels. This is either Jody's car or a very good copy of that car. Here's another situation where somebody took a brand new car and turned it into a Pro Street car. This is a Chevy Beretta, and this is a top of the line car. You can see it's on a tube chassis, it's sitting super low, and these things started as a front wheel drive car, so you pretty much had to put a chassis under them to make them look like this. This one is super slick. You can see the polished tin work. This is a real high-end car. Here's a 68 Camaro. This thing is tubbed. It's got a tunnel ram with the scoop. This is your typical 80s and 90s street machine. Now here's a different one. This is either a 73 or 74 Chevelle, and you can see this thing has a more modern Aero snorkel scoop on it. It's been shaved. It has shaved door handles, real slick body, sitting nice and low on some weld wheels. This is another real cool car. And then we got about a 78 or 9 Malibu. This one has a roll cage, and it gets some bonus points because it's got a window net. So this thing was either a race car or they're trying real hard to make it look like one. Now this is a cool one. This is a Chevy Monza, and this thing is sitting right on the ground. This thing obviously has a tube chassis. They've got this thing absolutely slammed. It has all sorts of slick details. You can see the paint is super nice, super straight car. Not a lot of stripes, not a lot of crazy stuff, just an extremely tasteful build, and of course it's sitting on a set of weld drag lights. Here we got another Chevy Malibu. We've got more stripes and custom paint work. Again, my dad always focused on that paint work, just gathering ideas for his own builds and his buddies' cars. And here's a quick shot of a T-Bucket. Pro Street and T-Bucket goes hand in hand. These cars had all the Pro Street details in a very lightweight, pretty much a dragster type package. Here's another situation where my dad was focusing on the paint work on this square body Chevrolet truck. You can see he's focusing on the stripes, and because my uncle also did hand lettering and some striping, he zoomed in on that too. You can see here, not too shabby. I always loved seeing pro street cars with a parachute. I just think that's super cool. And this one is even cooler because as we back up, we see this is a police car. This is like a 70s Dodge police car, and this thing has all the tricks. It's got a blown and injected combination up front. It still has the lights on the roof. You can see the police shield on the door. This is a wild combination that got a lot of attention. Now here's a neat shot. This was taken at the Maples Motor Inn, which is still in business in Pigeon Forge, still family owned, very neat old school place. But you can see out front in the grass, there were some cars parked out here, including a T-Bucket, a Volkswagen Beetle that has been pro-streeted. You can see the big tires under the back and a big wing on the back. And then in the background there, that's our old 64 Corvette. Now it wasn't really much of a pro street. It didn't have big tires on the back, but it did have one of the small B&M street blowers and the classic Mr. Gasket scoop. Now, I wish we had a better video shot of this car, but this thing is absolutely one of the baddest C3 Corvette Pro Street cars on the planet. This thing sat right down on the ground, well drag lights. It was obviously very clean and very well kept, very tasteful, not a lot of stripes or anything gaudy on it. Just a very cool looking car that looked like it belonged on the drag strip. Sitting next to it was a bright yellow 40 Ford sedan. It's got a tunnel ram and 2 4s, and then as we pan around we can see a Willis pickup, looks like a 40 model, and it was also a Pro Street build. And check this out, an old school T-Bucket cruising the strip in Pigeon Forge. It doesn't get much better than that. Next up is a 69 Camaro, and we focus here on the engine bay because this car had some really nicely polished tin work, closing out all those panels on the engine bay, slick paint, big block of course, and big tires on the back. Next up is a Chevy Monza. Now this is the notchback or the coupe style car. You didn't see a lot of these built into Pro Street cars, but this one was really nice. Had a cool looking stripe set up on the side of it, and it's sitting on a set of brushed centerline wheels. Really good looking combo. Here's another 69 Camaro. This one is for sale, as you can see with the for sale sign. I wish I knew the price on this thing just so we could all laugh together about how cheap it is. But this one's got a real good look to it. Cowl hood, custom stripes, big old tires on the back. Now here's an El Camino. Looks like a 68 or 9 El Camino. It's got some cool little pink stripes on there, Super Sport badges, and this thing has a great stance with the well draglight wheels. Here's another early Camaro, a 68 model. Big blower, big carburetors, all the right parts and pieces, and of course a bright yellow paint job with stripes to top it all off. Finally, one for the Ford guys, a 71 Ford Mustang Fastback. And this one looks pretty race car-ish. It's got a real low stance, got a lot of race car details, and just a pretty cool looking car overall. Here's another Ford, this time a 49 to 51, that classic shoebox Ford body style. And this one's been shaved, no door handles, no trim. The bumpers have been painted body color, and of course it's got some stripes on it. Now here are some more stripes, and I can get behind these because they're attached to a 51 Henry J. Now we think about Henry J's for gassers because they make super good gassers, but they also make really cool Pro Street cars. Now it was really hard back in the day to get a picture or video of this car because it was very well known and very popular. This was Jody Davis's Brute 55 Chevy. This thing was on the cover of Hot Rod magazine. This thing was known all over the Southeast, and it was known for its performance because this was not just a fairgrounds cruiser, this was also a drag car. So he would switch setups and take this thing to Southeastern International Dragway in Dallas, Georgia, and make some laps on it. Here's another tubbed Henry J, this time in primer, and just a real quick shot of it, didn't get many details. And then the next car we're looking at, another set of custom stripes, this time on a 68 to 72 Nova. And this guy gets extra points for having a sheet metal wing and wheelie bars. That's always a cool detail on the back of a Pro Street car. Now here's the 69 Chevelle that we saw earlier that had that blown and injected combo, and we see here this was obviously at a different event in Pigeon Forge and at a different time because it has a different setup on that big block Chevy. This time it has carburetors and those really cool B&M air breathers. Next up, a mid-80s Ford Thunderbird, and as the camera pans around here, we've got one of those really cool two-door Caprices from the late 70s and early 80s. You don't see this body style very much, but this one's got a good look to it. Then we got a Ford Mustang Fastback, and this car's got some big old Mickey Thompson tires. You can see a nice zoom in on the tires back there. A classic look on any kind of Pro Street build with those big tires tucked under the back. Here's another big block Chevy with a blower. These things were just all over the place in Pigeon Forge back in the day, And this one is attached to a 73 or 74 Nova, and we get around to the back of it, we can see the heartbeat lettering and some striping. Of course, Dad was looking at all that, gathering more ideas for future builds. Here we've got a 55 Chevy with a chopped top. I think we might have seen a clip of this car earlier. I'm not so sure, but we can see on this angle it's got custom taillights, custom stripes, and a wine blower up front. Here's a 66 Nova, and this one looks pretty race carish, even though we don't get a real good clear look at it. We can see it does have Lexan windows. All right, we got a parachute, we got wheelie bars, we got ground effects, we got Convo Pro wheels on the back. This is all the ingredients for a classic 80s or 90s Pro Street build, and it's all wrapped up in a really cool looking S10 Blazer. You guessed it, another 69 Camaro. I gotta wonder where all of these tubbed first generation Camaros ended up, because you just don't see them like this anymore. Touch of the devil, a bad to the bone street car that obviously had some drag racing history. I hope you enjoyed following along with all of these cool Pro Street builds. Thank you for watching.